I'm joined by Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Joining me now right at the top of the show is Abhishek Manu Singhvi. He is Congress leader, senior Supreme Court lawyer, senior CWC member, and also appearing for Sonia Gandhi in the case. Dr. Singhvi, appreciate your joining us. I know you've been in a vehicle in Bengaluru as you speak to us. As you heard from Munish Pandey, Sonia Gandhi now questioned over 2 days for more than 8 hours. She will again be questioned tomorrow. According to Munish Pandey, the ED wants to know the exact nature of financial transactions in which Mrs. Gandhi may have been involved. Your response?
Rajdeep, I was hearing this. Of course, as you can see, I'm in a vehicle because I've come to meet somebody medically unwell. But the point is that you asked the right question. And there can be no answer to that question, because the real answer to your question, Rajdeep, is all these hours, tomorrow maybe 15 hours by the end of the day, are for humiliation, for pettiness, for vendetta. And I'll tell you why. It is inconceivable to a kindergarten law student or a commonsensical human being as to how you can ask more than 5 or 7 questions. And give me just a couple of minutes to enlighten your viewers through you. One, why did you take on Young India, as your correspondent rightly say, and why did you become a shareholder director? Well, Young Indian was a company associated with the larger family of also AJL, also National Herald, also the Congress party. And do you think we will ask the president of the BJP to become an associated person with the Young Indian? Obviously, the senior people of the Congress lent their name to become directors and shareholders. But what is the point of this question? Can you, Rajdeep Sardesai, as a director or a shareholder of Young Indian, take even a penny in any form? That's the relevant question.
So the relevant question, Dr. Singhvi, which the ED is entitled to ask, is the nature of the transactions that were taking place between associate journals which held, just a minute sir, National Herald and the Young India Trust, the so-called Section 25 company that was formed by the Congress party in a way with the likes of Sonia Gandhi as their directors. They want to know the nature of the financial transactions between these two companies.
Rajdeep, allow me that much. I have been handling this case. Allow me to speak. What is the nature of the transaction? Sonia Gandhi did not deal at any point of time with the nitty-gritty, nor did Rahul Gandhi. The treasurer was Mr. Motilal Vora. The constitution of the Congress does not require the treasurer to take the permission, revert back, or coordinate with the president for any of these activities. Point one. Point two, everything which you are saying and which they are purporting to ask is in documents recorded. There is no need for questioning except humiliation. I'll tell you why. Over 10 odd years, roughly large amounts of money to the employees of National Herald, and such people are rarely profitable, became due in arrears as salary, wages, bonus. Over the time, ad hoc basis, Congress gave by check these payments which were made by check by AJL to its workers, either as bonus, gratuity or wages. Over time, therefore, this ran up to whatever the figure you said, 80-90 crores, over decades. To clean up the balance sheet of AJL without transferring one single property of AJL, Young India was created, and as I've said earlier, it would be the most foolish person who would create a Section 8 not-for-profit company like Young India, siphon of money, when you can't even take perks or salary or dividend. What do you siphon off? Then the next question is, you are saying you want to question for what? You paid these amounts by check. Instead of this debt which had run up in AJL, AJL issued shares, converting its debt into equity, and therefore Young India became a shareholder of AJL. Converting debt into equity is a well-known technique in the corporate market. The shares were held largely 90% plus by Young Indian. Young India had shareholders and directors like Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Motilal Vora, etc. None of them could take a penny. Every money flow is documented. The properties of AJL, be it some property in Baseless or elsewhere in India, not a single property moved. The law is very clear that Company A, which has the shares of Company B, even if Company A owns Company B 100%, Company A does not become the shareholder of the properties owned by Company B. Now, what is the questioning? Can you imagine what I have summarized to you, running through very fast in about 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
No, you've given me
of 20 hours.
You're saying that the questioning prima facie indicates a desire to harass the individuals. However, sir, the fact is, the Enforcement Directorate registered a fresh case under the criminal provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act after a trial court in Delhi took cognizance of the income tax investigation against young Indian. And if you remember, in 2014, they had said there's a prima facie income tax violation case. Now, let us assume that the Enforcement Directorate is keeping Sonia Gandhi there for hours and on end to prove a political point. At the end of the day, sir, that is the law of the land, that the Enforcement Directorate has the right to call and question and interrogate whoever they wish. If your client has nothing to worry about, why should you or anyone else in the Congress party be worried? Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani. Why not, like Sharad Pawar, offer yourself voluntarily before the ED as he did in 2019 and actually got sympathy as a result?
Rajdeep, you have answered your question yourself. You have answered it in detail. Number one, what has Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi done? They have offered themselves for 55 hours and probably by tomorrow 20 hours. What have they done? Have they gone to court? Have they sought injunction? Have they not offered themselves? But number two, are you not conflating wrongly their offer to present themselves along with the country knowing how baseless this case is with no money flowing and moving and yet constituting money laundering? Number three, don't conflate also the income tax with the ED case, because the income tax case is pending in the Supreme Court. It is sub judice. Today's proceedings and last night's proceeding of Rahul Gandhi has nothing to do with the income tax case. Nothing whatsoever in terms of relevance. Number four, you just read the Supreme Court judgment 4 or 5 days ago. The existence of a power to call and question you, Rajdeep, the existence of my power to arrest you, Rajdeep, is nothing to do with the actual exercise of that power. That is exactly what the Supreme Court said in the context of arrest. You have to be sparing, you have to be restrained. So I have the power, so just to humiliate you, I can call you. Of course I have the power. That's the whole point we are making. You have the power, but a child of first year law will know that you cannot ask more than 20 questions in 1 hour in this situation. You stretch the question whatever way you like.
Sir, but you know this is an old ED tactic. This is not, sir, Sonia Gandhi is not alone. We have seen over the years, whenever someone has been brought before the Enforcement Directorate, they tend to elongate the questioning. It may well be that they have only 10 or 20 questions, but they keep on questioning the person involved. It's not unusual, sir. You're making it out to be as if this is an exception.
Rajdeep, you please tell me, for all the documented issues, for the nature of the case I have summarized, you have to have a basis for keeping. She's going. She's an elderly woman. She's not very well. She's going. Rahul Gandhi went for 55 hours. Who's saying you're not going? But we are at rights to point out that this is harassment, humiliation, vendetta. Because to ask the right question of your correspondent, how is it possible that you need them for so long? Tomorrow again she will go. Does that mean that your power to call her is correct? The fact that you can call her or the fact that she goes, is it equivalent to the right to exercise the power you have?
Okay.
Technically your argument means that this ED can keep calling her every day for the next 1 month. Of course it can call her. I stop at 3 days. To give me a single argument why documented points I have made or the nature of the transaction I have explained.
Let me leave it there, Dr. Singhvi, because we are slowly losing your audio, but I think your point has been made. You're claiming that this is pure and simple harassment. You're claiming Sonia Gandhi is ready to answer all questions, but do you really need her for so many hours over so many days for a case that has already been in a public domain over the last decade? Let's leave it there, Dr. Singhvi. You are, as I said, a fine lawyer. You've made a case for your client. Thank you very much for joining me.